If you are looking to get into beginner embroidery or someone who embroiders and are looking for some new projects to try this year, then you have found the right video. So today I'm going to go through my top 5 embroidery projects that I did in 2025 that I think you should try in 2026. More specifically, I think these projects are good for someone who is just starting embroidery, and I'm going to do them in order of like, this is the first project I think you can try, that's number 5, and then up to number 1, which is my favorite project of the year, and also the one I think you should try last. These are all done with beginner stitches, so this kind of like phase would be you've learned some beginner stitches and now you want to try a project. So where should you start after you've done maybe like a intro to embroidery kit? Okay, I think that's all you need to know. So let's get started. Let's go to number 5. So project number 5 is to embroider on a ribbon. Ribbons are quick payoff and low investment. What I mean by that is that when you're embroidering on a ribbon, they are pretty small, so you don't even like need a hoop. You can usually just hold them, between fingers to do different sections. Ribbons it can range, but generally you can get it pretty inexpensively. And the projects are a lot smaller, so instead of starting with some sort of big project that you have to put a ton of hours into to get the payoff, a ribbon you can do pretty quickly. Let me show you some examples that I've done this year. One, I mentioned this in so many videos, but I don't even care, I love him, is this little ghost bookmark for my planner. I was going to switch him out seasonally, but now this little ghosty is going to be with me all year round. I love having a little satin ribbon in my planner. I think it adds a little bit of luxury to my day. I happen to be someone who uses a planner every day, so it's kind of fun. But you could do, vines, you could do flowers, you could do words. There's just so much you can do with a ribbon or with a bookmark. And again, it's low cost, low effort. So who cares if you make 12? You know what I mean? Like it's not like a bigger project where you're like, this is the design I want. You can have a bunch of different ones. And I think that's great for a beginner project because it allows you to practice your stitches in a ton of different ways and get a cute project at the end rather than just doing it on like a sheet. When I said I liked ribbons this year, I mean like I really liked ribbons this year. So what I also did was we batch up our Christmas cards, the ones we've received every year, and put the ones we gave on top, or the one we gave on top, tie them with ribbons. And then this year I did a whipped back stitch and added the dates. So 2023, let's see, 2024, and then this year's was 2025. I just did it. I think it's so cute. Then we put it under the tree as decor before the holidays, or before Santa comes with presents. And we have the little batches of Christmas cards under our tree. Another ribbon I did this year was for my little niece. So she's a bow girl for sure, and her favorite color is pink. So I did the whipped back stitch on a ribbon with her name and then used it to wrap her Christmas present. Christmas morning is always exciting, so she didn't pay that much attention to it, but I know she'll like it, and her mom definitely appreciated it. My number 4 project of the year, and the project I think you should head to after the ribbon, is to embroider on a canvas bag. I have a ton of videos I'm going to link above about embroidering on this bag specifically, some tips, some tricks, just like the process, so you can see all of that. The reason I think you should embroider on a canvas bag as a beginner is because it gives you a lot of practice and it's not delicate. So with these stitches, I got a ton of practice. I have a lot of satin stitch, stem stitch. We have French knots. I have a ton of, I forget what these are called. I think it's leaf stitch, but they're all over. It just gave me a ton of practice without it being something where it's like this big, delicate project. It's meant to be used. It's a bag. So, the back isn't perfect, but I'm going to do some sort of iron on, I think, to cover it up. We'll see how that works. Compared to fabric that's more delicate, I think canvas is great because it hides mistakes. It's kind of more rugged. And you get this practical thing you could use. So that's my number 4 favorite project of the year, was doing this embroider on a canvas bag. My number 3 and number 2 are pretty tied, but we're going to head to number 3, which is this Disney hat I made. Guys, I love it. It's so cute. I wore it in the parks a bunch. It was inexpensive. It's a $12 hat from Target, and it's just a woven rose with some French knots in the middle. It looks like a Mickey. We're heading into Flower and Garden Festival for those who are Disney fans like me. So if you're headed to Disney soon, I think you should try this one specifically. But the larger number 3 is to embroider a custom hat for yourself. I think the big step up from the bag is that it's functional, but it is more delicate. The hat is smaller. You want it to be, you're probably going to wear it out, maybe you're taking pictures, you want it to be like cute and done nicely. So I think once you feel confident in the bag, you move up to the hat. There's a ton of different things you can embroider on a hat. I can link some other videos. I did like a Taylor Swift inspired Star Wars one. You can do words, you can do like flowers along the sides. There's just so much to do here, and I wear hats all the time in the summer, so it's especially functional for me, but I think you should try out embroidering on a hat. Okay, number 2, and where I think you should head after the hat, are these custom cocktail napkins I made for Christmas. I think they're so sweet. I think the great thing about going from the hat to the cocktail napkins is that you're really sharing your embroidery with people. So with these napkins, I find them special, but also like my guests when we host holidays are going to use them. They're going to like see the stitches up close and be able to see all the work that was put into it. And they look like, well, okay, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think they look like holiday decor that you would have for a while. I especially like this one, the second one I did. I'm going to keep showing them to you because I love them. But this was number 2, was my holiday napkins. And my number 1, my favorite embroidery of the year, I actually don't have with me. And that is this handkerchief that I embroidered for my dad. So my dad gave me throughout my whole life, whenever I've needed it, my dad's given me a hanky. And that's meant like, when it's cold, you need your nose, or like something's been spilled and he wipes it up with a hanky, or, when you're a teenage girl or whatever and you're crying and like you need a hanky, my dad's let me borrow his hanky. So for my wedding weekend, I also needed a hanky. I realized like the day before, I guess day of the rehearsal dinner, and I didn't have one. So my dad gave me one. He had like a pack of them, like a fresh one. And these aren't like fancy hankies. This is like he buys them in a pack. They're white cotton hankies. I have like another one that I've stolen in my closet right now, but just for like a different time. But he gave me this hanky and like none of us thought anything of it because it's just like so normal. But there's another piece I have to tell you before I get to the end, which is our father-daughter dance song. My dad did as a surprise song. We did have a deal with the DJ where if the DJ thought that the song was like a wild choice, she was going to tell my now husband and he was going to like, help facilitate a little bit. But my dad is like such a just traditional, just a nice, loving dad. So he, of course, picked a really sweet song. He picked I Loved Her First. So back to the hanky, I, for Christmas, took the hanky and embroidered lyrics from I Loved Her First on the hanky and then gave it back to him as part of his Christmas present with a picture of us doing the father-daughter dance. And he loved it. He got it. He got how sentimental it was. He didn't care that like it wasn't perfectly done or super extravagant. I just did another whipped back stitch for it to do the lettering, and it was really sweet, and it was my favorite thing that I embroidered this year. Those are my top 5 embroidery projects I did this year. I'm so excited to see, what I end up doing for 2026. So if you have any recommendations, please drop them down below. And if this inspired you to do any projects, please leave that in the comments. I would love to know, if you did a ribbon or a bag or a hat or napkins or something sentimental. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks.